Hello, welcome to the programme. We've got a busy week for you this week. We're going to take a look at these plants a little bit later in the programme in our Fit for the Shade spot. We're going to visit a delightful garden nestled in an Essex village, tended by Jessica and Graham Parker. We'll go down to the allotment and check out what's happening down there and also what's ready for planting out. Lucy, our resident fitness expert, will give us a few tips about looking after our backs in the garden. And our bug for the week this week is the ladybird. But first, let's go down to the greenhouse and see how our seedlings are progressing. Last week, if you remember, we planted some Florence fennel and some purple sprouting broccoli. Our purple sprouting broccoli has come up quite successfully, and we'll leave it a few days. We'll transplant our individual little seedlings into pots and bring them on. We've got our tomatoes and peppers that are now getting to the stage where they're ready to be popped into grow bags or individual pots. So they've done quite well, and we've still got some leeks that we're going to bring on a little bit more before we finally take them up to the allotment. Brussels sprouts seedlings and our spinach seedlings have grown on well, and they're ready to go down, so we'll be planting those out next week. And our lettuce and mixed salad leaves have been extremely successful. We've been able to cut a lot of those, and they're still growing. And I'm pleased to report that our runner bean seedlings and our French bean seedlings are also coming on well. Those will plant out a little bit nearer the end of the month, really to avoid any risk of frosts. So there's plenty happening. We'll be planting some more seeds next week, and I'll tell you about those at the end of the programme. Hello and welcome to our shady corner. We've got a selection on the table for you here of plants all suitable for shady conditions. First of all, let's take a look at some of the shrubs. I've got three for you, three suggestions, two of which are evergreen and one of which is deciduous. The first one is this particular one here, which is Sarcococca confusa, sometimes commonly known as Christmas box. It's got lovely evergreen sort of oval shaped leaves and has some very highly scented flowers in late winter. So it's a nice shrub if you want something near a doorway, because you get the scent coming off the shrub through the winter. It goes to about 3 foot high and is ideal for a shady condition. This one here is Viburnum davidi. It grows to about the same height ultimately, although it's quite slow growing. It has some very pretty flowers, as you can see at this time of the year, which stand above the leaves. The leaves are actually quite interesting structurally, these lovely ribbed leaves. And then after the flowers are finished, it has black-blue berries on it. Again, it's an ideal one. Ideal actually does quite well in reasonably dry shade. And our third choice is a Philadelphus. This is Philadelphus coronus aureus. This one's got this lovely acid green colour to the leaves. It looks even more intense actually in shady conditions. Its flowers aren't quite so prolific as some of the other mock oranges, which is its common name, but it's really for the foliage. I think this one is grown. Ultimately it will reach about 6 feet, so it is actually quite a bigger shrub, but beautiful colour. So those three are reasonably widely available at most of your garden centres. Now for perennials, I've got two choices here, depending on the space in your garden. Two dicentras, which are a deciduous perennial, commonly known as bleeding heart. You'll see it more clearly with the flowers on the larger variety. This one is Boothman's, Formosa Boothman, and it's pretty with the ferny leaves, and they last for a long time. So that's ideal for a slightly smaller spot. For a larger spot, I've got this one here, and in fact you can see the flowers a little bit better on this plant. And this grows probably, once it's fully matured, to about 3 feet. So it's quite a big one. It lasts for a long time, lasts well into summer. But the leaves, structurally, it's quite an interesting plant and ideal for a shady position. Hostas, that's another suggestion for you for shade. These are lovely structural plants. I've got two varieties here, Francis Williams and Gold Standard. And the larger varieties are a little bit more resistant to slug and snail damage, but you may, depending on your location, need to use something, preferably an organic product, to dissuade them from eating the leaves when they first come through. But those two are quite big specimens, and probably go to about 60 to 80 centimetres with mauve blue flowers a little bit later on. And our third choice here is this one here, and this is called Pulmonaria opal. It is regarded as a deciduous perennial, but depending on where it's located in the garden, sometimes you can still have leaves on it through the winter. It's flowering, well, it started flowering in sort of April, coming to the end now, but it has the most beautiful mauve blue flowers and these lovely spotted leaves, which give you interest right the way through the summer. Once the flowers are finished, you can cut the flower heads off, but you have the leaves which continue to grow right the way through the summer, and an ideal one for a shady spot. It also gives you early season colour as well. So there are a few suggestions. We've got a few more on the table which we can have a look at next time. But I think now we'll go down to the allotment and we'll see what's happening down there.